Yesterday, we had an investor ready to sign sight unseen, which means he doesn't need to walk through the property, on a deal that we have with a wholesaler on our platform. And let's call him Jay. So the wholesaler was excited to sign, and then he told his other partner about it, who was also helping him find buyers. And let's just say he didn't share his excitement. Now, instead of talking about it like an adult, let's say, he decided that he wanted to wait until he found another buyer that he brought so that he could take a bigger chunk. And after speaking on the phone with him for a while, like an hour and a half between me, Jay, and B, we found out that he wants to either find the buyer himself and cut us out of the deal, or we find the buyer and only give us a small portion of the deal. But anyways, that's not how real estate works. So what we ended up doing is explain to him that there are two options. At first, Jay, the person who actually brought the deal, will no matter what get 50% because that's what's owed to him. Now the other 50% is where we can talk it out. And what I offered him was either, my preference would be we split it evenly no matter who brings the buyer. So we can wait for your buyer. If he doesn't come through, we'll go with our buyer that's ready to sign. Or whoever brings the buyer gets a percentage. And he agreed to the first option, but said that he wanted to wait until tomorrow, which is today, after the walkthrough of his buyer, which basically means he wants to know whether or not his buyer is going to say yes or no for him to say if he wants to split it or take it all for himself. Now, we were contemplating, all right, do we just say, okay, then whoever gets the buyer gets the percentage, or do we still split it even if our buyer ends up buying it? And what I think is extremely important when you're building yourself and you're building a business is not to let the money change who you are. And money is an amplifier. And if you stick to your morals, you can do great things with it. But if you succumb to the greed or that mindset that you have to take from people to grow and to get, you're not going to make it very far. Even if there are other people that you're working with, because there will always be these types of people in the world and in business, because that's just the type of thing you're getting yourself into. When there's money, there's always greed. But what the important thing is not to allow the immorality of others to change your morals. So when we have the option, if the buyer comes from us, we will be splitting with him for two reasons. One, just exactly what I said, is follow your morals even if others don't. But another part of it is you never know when someone can come biting back to you, because these types of people are the ones that will remember and will try to bring you down because of something you might have done. So even if, first of all, ignore what he may or may not do what you think is right. And past that, even if you don't think it's right, sometimes it's better just to pay it down and forget about it and know never to work with him and warn others not to work with him than to not pay him and risk getting bit in the back later down the line. Now, we'll see what happens in the next few hours, in the next few days. And maybe I'm wrong about him. Let's just say the way he's talking on the phone, I don't think I am, but you never know. So again, always remember that no matter what, the decisions you make are yours to make. And the morals you follow or choose to or not to follow is always going to be your decision. And if someone else doesn't follow your moral compass or doesn't do the things that you deem to be right or wrong, it doesn't give you an excuse to legitimize you going against your own morals. Because people judge themselves on their own morals, and people judge others, again, on their own morals. But what happens when they don't line up? Chaos. So don't let that happen. Instead, stick to yourself, stick to your morals, and do what you know is right, even if someone else may or may not follow those same morals, or even follow their own, for that matter. Because at the end of the day, this is a little bit of a side tangent, But at the end of the day, the goal for me personally is not to make money. It's to change the industry. Like, I'm not looking at these thousands of dollars like, oh, I need to get these thousands of dollars. I'm looking at, I need to change this industry, and what comes with that, thousands of dollars will look like pennies and irrelevant numbers for that goal. So maybe that's me hiding behind morality, and that's really what it is. But again, I don't think that is. Now, I think your true character shows when you have to make these tough decisions. And I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say I thought about cutting him out of the deal if we get the buyer. Yeah, I did. But at the same time, why would I do that if I knew it was going to cost me later? And why would I do that for, yes, it's a lot of money now, but down the line, it really isn't. Now, the other part of it is, which we could have done as well, and wouldn't be immoral, but I don't feel is right, is he offered to split it 4 ways. So there's 4 of us, me, Jack, and these 2. But that would leave Jay, the person with the deal, with 25%. And that, I don't know why, it just goes against my, like, every fiber of my being of the person that brings the opportunity should not be getting 25%. Now, if the other 3 people were bringing something equivalent of value, then yes, that works. But when the other 3 people are all working together to find a buyer for the property, that comes out to one piece of the puzzle. And there's 2 pieces. There's the property and there's the buyer. And for that, there's 50-50. So, and Jay's like great to work with. We honestly met him recently, but he's been such a pleasure to work with. And he even like offered, like, if this guy screws us over and takes 50%, like, he would split with us. But like, I don't think I can take that. Maybe like a kickback, but anyway, that's me just like kind of thinking out loud right now. So anyways, tomorrow we'll find out what happens with this. But I guess the point of this video is kind of one, for me to just talk it out and just make sure I'm thinking about this correctly. And the other part of it, which I think is even more important, is the fact that we are all humans at the end of the day. And we all take action based off of certain levels of decision making. Some of it might be emotional, some of it might be logical. Most of it's in between. But I think what's most important is to realize that when you are in times of high emotion, to kind of take like a step back and think about the bigger picture. Not just when everybody's in the right but had different opinions, but even when you're in the right and someone is clearly in the wrong. And just figure out, what would your role model do? What would someone who you respect or admire do in that situation? And then take that step. And if it's the wrong move, it's the wrong move, and you just learn the next time. But the goal is to always try to do the right thing and always take action. Don't just procrastinate because you don't know what to do. That's what I got for you guys today. It's a little bit of a longer video, but I hope that rambling was, if not entertaining, or if not helpful, at least entertaining. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.